The Oscar race begins with the year's most inspiring film, Florence Foster Jenkins.
At this dark moment in our history, music matters.
Based on the incredible true story of the world's most unlikely singer who inspired a nation.
That dame's got me happy to be alive.
Critics are raving. Meryl Streep is a serious Oscar contender for her latest tour de force performance.
But I'm afraid.
They're going to love you.
You have to see to believe.
This is what we live for, this moment.
Florence Foster Jenkins, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing in theaters.
Blog Talk Radio.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Charvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Charvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. But guess what? Heard all across the World Wide Web. We are super excited to have you all joining us here for another phenomenal show. Listen, big shout out to all those that are hanging out with us on Twitter, twitter.com/Charvette. Hey now, hey. Yes, Facebook. Hello, Facebook. You all are my fan base. Facebook.com/Charvette. Hey there. Those that are hanging out just on Charvette.com, we welcome you. Those that are listening in from our mobile app and, of course, all of our broadcast stations, we appreciate you joining us here on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. So listen, we're going to jump right on in for today's segment. I have three dynamic gentlemen that are joining me. They're hanging out in the virtual green room right now. We're going to be bringing them up to the mic. Half Mile Home. Yes. New single out, Thinking of Me. And I love it. You're going to get to hear about it. They've got a new CD out, Don't Judge Me. They're from Akron, Ohio. So big shout out, big love to our friends and family that are in Akron, Ohio. And I'm telling you what, this group, you're just going to hear from them individually. I'm going to let them just share about their lives and everything that they have going on. I always think when you have men that are doing ministry and able to do it together as a team, I think we always want to support and promote that. And so that's our first segment, which is our artist spotlight segment. But listen, our second segment is going to be hot, off the chain as well. You know, we love our authors here over on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. And so our second segment features an author, a motivational speaker, and a trainer, and that's Richale Reed is joining us in the second segment. You're going to get to hear all about her brand new book. She's actually hanging out in the virtual green room as well, ready and willing to share with us about everything that's going on in her world and her book, Silhouette of Her, Naked and Unashamed, a poetic journey of faith. Wow, I know you want to hear all about that. So this is what I want you to do. Jump on Facebook, jump on Twitter. Tell them what you're listening to. Tell them to join us and hop right on over here. So listen. We're moving right on into our first segment. Again, three dynamic men of God, Half Mile Home. And so you know the first thing, y'all know, listeners, I am always trying to figure out how people got their names and how that all came about. So, you know, that's the first question I have. So I'm bringing up to the mic. Listen, I'm opening up all of my mic lines here and bringing my guests. Hey, guys, you are all live and on the show. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Everybody's here. All right. Listen, I love your energy already. Okay, so let's let our listeners know, who do we have? Like, I want each one of you to just individually introduce yourselves to our audience.
Okay, we are Half Mile Home, and that's Todd. That's Todd. We're going to speak at the same time. Todd, that's Todd. My name is Button. And then we have Deacon on the phone together. Yeah, and together we are Half Mile Home. So
Half Mile Home
to be Half Mile Home, and we're so happy to be on tonight. We're just excited to hear so much about you.
Oh, wow. Well, we are glad to have you on the show. And so we got to know, I have to know, where did you come up with the name Half Mile Home? How did y'all come up with that?
Fortune cookie. I was at a Chinese restaurant. No, I'm only playing with you. I'm only kidding.
Now wait a minute. Who was that said that? Was that Button?
Yeah, that's Button. That's Button. That's me.
Okay.
You know, honestly, sis, just give you a short version of it. I'm gonna need some background music, but yeah, really to give you a short version of it. Yeah, I need it. But listen, people, we used to sing. I mean, we're all from church. We love the Lord. Honestly, we really truly do. We're men who really love the Lord, and we love what we do. But when we were growing up, we always wanted to see. You know, you always got that ideal of what it would be if you were Jodeci or Boys II Men or, you know, all these other groups. You'd be like, I'm gonna try my hand. I'm gonna try it. And so I believe we were blessed to come out of the box and be able to. I mean, first time out, Devontae Swing from Jodeci and Daryl Pearson both produced our first album. You know, coming out of the box. You know. Which was a huge experience for us. You know, from the jump. You know, we didn't have to work our way to get to these type of producers. We came out and bam, that's where we were at. And so we was on tour for a while, just opening up a Jodeci for a long time, and we were part of the Basement Crew with Missy and a whole bunch of other people, Timberland and all of those guys. Genuine with his, Elgin, but they, him as Genuine. And we all hung out, and we just try to make the Jodeci show amazing. We try to help make that thing right, get it, and it was beautiful. But at the same time, we were just doing some things that we just really weren't comfortable with in our spirit. And Dad always stayed on us. By the way, Todd, that's in the group, that's my brother. Our dad stayed on us all the time. He said, "Man, you guys, you had your fun. Now bring it on back. Bring it on back." So when we would come home, we would always be in church anyway, and we were musicians at my dad's church, and it was amazing because, we would get off, we'd be on the road, we would come home, and then we would go and sing for the Lord, and then it was fine. We did it for like a year until my dad just said, "You know what? I'm listening to you on the radio. I'm listening to the songs y'all singing. They just don't work with what I'm trying to teach the people at my church. And so I'm going to ask that y'all not sing and play at the church no more." That was huge for us. That dropped the bomb on us because that's like our heart and soul. We live for Sunday morning, and when you're a church musician and you grew up doing it, that is, you live for that moment because you get to see people's lives change off something that God has told you to sing or do, and you really look forward to that moment. And when Dad said, "Nah, man, I can't use you. What you're doing just don't coincide of what I'm teaching." So, we struggled with that. So we just stayed on the road, come home. We never went to church, and it just weighing on our soul. And so I believe we were coming from Indiana one day. We was on the last leg of the Coca-Cola tour, and I told my brother, I said, "Man, I don't want to do this no more. I really want to sing for the Lord full time. I'm giving them all I got. I'm out here giving them all I got. I'd rather give all I got to the Lord." And then my brother said, what would we call ourselves, dude? Because at the time our name was 1-900. It was, we couldn't be 1-900 singing Christian music. So I said, well, of course we got to change our name. And I asked God, I said, "God, give us something unique. Give us something that would stand out." And I looked out the window, and there was a sign that said "half mile to our exit." And so I told my brother, I said, "Man, that's our name. Thank you, God. That's our name." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, I said, "half mile to," I said, "No, half mile home." And that's our name, and we stuck with it. We half mile. And after that, we got off the tour bus, and we never went back. And that's
what a transition. Now, that had to be, for all of you, that had to be really, really a big transition, because I know and I am sure that R&B and non-church was maybe probably at that point more lucrative than going into really what is your passion. How did you all handle that? Because a lot of artists struggle with that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you again. This is Buttons. The finances was nice. The money, you get money, but the reward is so much greater. I remember. We were making $1,500 a night, and I remember taking this money and trying to save it and bring it home. And I didn't want to spend it like everybody else. I didn't want to go buy filet mignon. I literally had French fries and water every night so I can have more money to take home after the tour. I did that all the time, and I liked it. I like to save my money. And I remember coming to church one day, and my dad gave me $125, and I looked at the check and I folded it up. I never really thought about it, but I was so happy at the end of church service. I was more happier not getting one. I didn't care about the 125, but I was so happy at the end of the service when Dad found out that we was not doing that anymore, and he allowed us to sing in church again. I was so happy. It meant more to me that all the money I saved up for that whole tour. It meant so much more to me because at the end of service, to see the feeling that I had served, the God that woke me up in the morning, the God that blessed me, the God that gave me a nose to breathe, the God that gave me these legs I can walk, the God that gave me eyes that I can see. I had served him, and I had sung praises under him, and till I sweated, and my voice was hoarse, and I felt so relieved, and I felt so good about it. I had goosebumps, and it was like God just let me know, son, you're home, and I'm so glad you're back. I'm so glad you're back, and it meant more to me than all the money that I had. It meant more to me than anything. And so I was so happy. I was elated. And honestly, singing on Sunday morning means more to me than anything. I'd rather sing Sunday morning than be on Bobby Jones. And the Lord knows we've been on Bobby Jones a few times, but I'd rather be Sunday morning because I got a close connection with these people, and we're both crying. And we're happy. And it's not about when somebody say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're on. No, it's really about serving God. And I'm telling you, it's a life-changing situation. I wouldn't change it for nothing. I'm so glad that I went out there, but I'm even happier that I came back.
All right. So artists, if you are listening, you hear from the voice of experience right here on the Charlotte Mitchell Radio Show.
Amen.
Wow. Amen. And if you just tuned in, hey there, you're listening to three dynamic men of God, Half Mile Home. You're hearing Terrence Buttons Burton. You're hearing from Daryl Deacon Brownlee and Todd Burton right here. Now, y'all were on the Nightly Spirit like last week, right?
Yeah. We had a good time over there. Did you hear it?
How was that experience? I didn't hear it, but I saw it on your social media.
Oh, we had a good time. Them were some crazy people, but they love the Lord. But we crazy too, and we love the Lord. And we just had a ball there. Darlene, man, they just treated us so nice, and we got on there and just acted a plum fool for Jesus, and people called in, and we just had a good time and was able to minister to some folk. But we had a good time. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm Buttons. This is my time. I'm gonna let my brother and Deacon speak from now on, because I love to talk about the goodness of God, because He's so good to me.
Talk about it.
We gonna let them get in. So Daryl Deacon Brownlee, we bringing you up to the mic, Deacon. So tell our listeners, if they haven't heard you or experienced your music ministry, how would you describe your sound?
Oh man, I tell you what, we like to call it rhythm and light. It's a little rough around the edges. It's a little rough around the edges for some people, you know what I mean? But I would just like to say that it's pretty good music, if I may say so myself. It's good music, and I think, and one thing I want to say, when we dealing with the gospel music, a lot of times, a lot of people will tell you that your sound is a little bit too worldly or whatever, but at the same time, they'll tell you when they was in the world, they was doing it big time. So I feel like you should do just as good a job, if not better, for God. You know what I mean? And it's about, and it's gospel music, which means good news. Take the time to hear the message, because the message is strong, But our music, our music is just good music, and it's just good sound, doing what we do. But I enjoy it. I'm glad to be used. I'm glad that the Lord, allowed me this opportunity, to be used by Him for something so great, with some strong brothers, some brothers who family men who actually love the Lord and got the same vision that I have, And just like you said earlier, black men or men working together is something that we really missing in this world, you know, and especially black men. You know, we see what's happening with black men every day, but black men working together is the strongest unit, the strongest force other than the Most High God, and that has been proven. And as long as these brothers got the same mission as I mean, we're gonna do this to the end of time, and you know, we're gonna keep doing this. Ain't no stopping. And you know, God, as long as God with us, we know we're doing the right thing. And like I said, it's rough, right. But it's right.
But he definitely listen, testify. And I mean, whenever you walk away, you know, whenever you walk away from what you all walked away from to say, you know, I'm going to live for God, there is no way that he is going to allow that you all to be disappointed. I mean, there is just no way he's going to allow that. There's no way.
He's faithful, and he always does what he says he's going to do. You got to do what you're supposed to do, but God always does what he said, and he is faithful. And another thing, like a lot of people, they might not know this, but we actually are businessmen, you know, and God placed us in a position. He placed it just like Buttons was saying earlier. You know, we walked away from a couple dollars here and there, you know, but God placed us in a position to where our family is taken care of, and money is not an issue most of the time, you know. Everybody got bills, but God takes care of us. You know, he put us in a position to be able to live and to be able to go out and minister to the people. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, if you know the gospel game, you know it's not as lucrative as the secular world. But sometimes you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in what God has done in our lives. So, you know, hey, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here, you know. I mean, if God gonna use somebody, I thank him for using me.
Amen. Absolutely. Amen. You talking good. Y'all send him some PayPal donations just for that. Talking good right here. Half Mile Home. All right, so let's talk about the project and the single. So, you know, let's talk about that. Who wants to tackle that one?
Hey, this is Todd. I can talk about the project, and we're going to let Buttons talk about the single, because the single was very near and dear to both of us, and he'll tell you why. But I can tell you guys about the project. Hey, listen, brand new project is out right now. I thank God for this project. It's called Don't Judge Me, in stores all over the country, doing really well on the charts right now. Thank God for that. Listen, the new single, Thinking of Me. Before this single, everybody, I'm quite sure, if anybody knows of Half Mile Home, we had a great song out called More Than Enough that really, really, really introduced us to the world, and a lot of people know us from that song. So I thank God for that song as well. But listen, everybody go to halfmilehome.com. You can get our project today. If you don't buy the whole project, go buy at least Thinking of Me. It's only 99 cents. 99 cents, that's all. Just go and buy the song. Well, I pray that you get the album, because it will truly be a blessing to you. There's a lot of great songs on it that can minister to your hearts. And the CD is for everybody, sis. And I'm telling you, when I tell you everybody, the CD has something on it for everybody. And we're not trying to give you a conglomeration of a whole bunch of different things here and there, but I really, really know, without a shadow of a doubt, this CD touches the hearts of everyone. So, listen, that's all I got to say about the project. Don't judge me. Go get it. Go pick it up. Oh, one more thing, since we are on tour right now with Carrie Douglas. We're on tour right now with Carrie Douglas. Gospel Mix 2016 featuring Barry Cage, Ricky Dillard, Bacardi Cortez, James Fortune, Stan and Little. Taylor. We got Captain Taylor. We got Ken Spirituals, Luther Barnes, and none other than Half Mile Home.
Whoa! So where can listeners find you? Where can they see you next, like live?
The next place we'll be in Baltimore. We'll be in Baltimore on that. Oh, matter of fact, we'll be in New York this weekend. I'm sorry. We'll be in New York this weekend.
In Buffalo. Yep, this week.
Yep.
So they should go to the website and keep up with all of your tour dates there.
Yeah.
You better believe it.
Check it
out.
out.
With the tour dates, videos and all that. HalfMileHome.com.
All right, there you go. That's how you plug it. That's how you plug it. And listeners, don't worry because we're going to let you hear Thinking of Me in a few minutes. So don't move. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to our Artist Spotlight with Half Mile Home. All right. And so I love that you mentioned you all are family, family oriented. And how has it been, having families and still pursuing ministry? I'd love to hear from each one of you. How do you keep a balance so that, you can have some time to spend spread around your plate?
Well, this is Buttons. For me, I got girls. I got all girls, and
oh wow,
they consume a lot of my time. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. They are they're a huge big support system for me. They take care of Daddy. They love me, and they make me feel like Superman. And and when I'm on a road, they always keep me abreast, keep me up to date. And when I get home, they just love on me. They pack my stuff before I go. And really, be honest with you, I just take a lot of time when I'm home. We spend a lot of time together. We have a certain time every day to do something, and they just really love what I do. Like I said, big supporters, and my wife and my 3 daughters. And I mean, I live in a house full of girls. Even my dog is a girl, and so so they love on me, and I tell them all the time I appreciate it, and I like to bring them something home every time I go somewhere. So when I'm coming into your city, if you're listening, give me some ideas, something I can give my baby from your city, because they love things from different cities. So I was just in Chicago the other week, and somebody told me, yeah, get them some Garrett's popcorn. I brought them some popcorn.
Oh,
so,
my goodness. My favorite.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I don't know the lady's name who told me about that. I don't know the lady's name, but she told me, and I went and got it for them, and they loved it. Now they said, Daddy, I can't wait till you go back to Chicago because we want some Garrett's popcorn.
Or if you have a flight that takes you that has a connection through Chicago, you can buy it in the airport. I learned that.
Awesome.
So that's a hint.
Yeah. But there's a Garrett right there on the pier, right there by the water. And so some lady told me go down there. It's right over there by some type of Bubba Gump shrimp place, and I went down there and got the popcorn. Got 3 bags for each one because they don't understand sharing yet. So I got bags, and I came home, and I was even a bigger Superman. So, ma'am, Miss Lady, thank you so much for the information. My babies loved it. So that's how I balance my time, man.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Because oftentimes we just think women. Oftentimes it's just women have to figure out the balance. But this applies to men as well. So love to hear from the other 2 members. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is Todd. I balance my time by just we vacation a lot as well. We do a lot of vacations. My brother Buttons over there, he's like the family coordinator. So he books a lot of vacations for our family. So when I say we vacation a lot, we vacation a lot. So that's how we're afforded to do that. And also, again, like both of them had mentioned previously earlier in the conversation, we are all entrepreneurs, and because of that, God has allowed our lives to be. We're financially increased and we're financially blessed, and so we like to be a blessing to all of our listeners. We like to be a blessing to anyone that we come across. We give more than we take, and I'm being honest with you, sis, because we give so much. And that's one of the biggest keys that people need to understand about this life. When you're blessed, listen, to be blessed, you have to give. Have a willing and giving heart, and that's how God turns it around for you. He constantly turns it around for us in our lives. So that's one of the things that I do. I give to my children. I give to other people. I give to everyone. And also, like I said, spending time with my children, that is one of the best things that I could ever do in life. And another thing, we go to church all the time. So that's the most important thing. We spend a lot of time together at church. We do that every Sunday. We go to church and listen, we are typical church musicians because after church, we the only ones left in the church. Our family started.
Are y'all shedding or?
Yep.
Yeah. We be on. Listen, since we the only ones who be left in the church, so all of us and our kids. So that's how we do it. That's how we stay well rounded. And I just ask that everyone continue to pray for us and continue to support our ministry, because God is truly taking us higher.
Amen. Phenomenal. And did we have one more person wanted to talk about that balance piece?
Ooh-wee. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna tell you. I'm just gonna say this. Hey, it's hard sometimes because, and it's probably a little bit harder for me because my kids live. I actually live in Youngstown and they live in Akron, so we're a little less than an hour away from each other. And I don't live with my children, but I see them every weekend, but it really is kind of hard working these long hours that we do running these businesses, and then having to go on the road, and a lot of times the family can't always go, you know what I mean, because we in and out, but I mean, but the main thing is the family. We only doing this. We had to remind ourselves years ago, we doing this for our families anyway. So
yes,
if the compromise shouldn't be that much. A lot of times we might have to turn down a gig because somebody's daughter is, somebody had a Sweet 16, and things like that are maybe a little bit more important sometimes. Those things you're not going to ever get back. So you just have to keep in mind the reason that you're doing this. You're ministering to the people, but at the same time, the balancing everything out, kind of has to work around your family. And I'm just and we are some family men, and I'm telling you, and I might, if I may say so, these two guys, oh my goodness, they are so. I have never met anybody who eats dinner with their entire family every week. Every week, like all their aunts and uncles and cousins and next door neighbors, and and I'm not lying. They will tell you I never saw that. I only saw that in the movies, but that also kind of helped me balance things out. When I be around, I'll be like, hey man, I'm up here, and they with all their family, man. Then I have to start thinking, well, maybe I need to, balance this out a little bit better, because there has been some times, when we don't mean to. But your kids or your family would feel like, hey, oh man, I wish Daddy was here right now. But when they get when that light bill is paid, or that phone bill or that water bill, you know what I mean? Then they understand a little bit, and our families are understanding, and that support right there is really big too, to have the support of your family, to people that do understand what you're doing. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of people. Most people got somebody in their family who is pulling them in the opposite direction, and they say they down or they say they understand, but man, I'm telling you, it's not always like that. But we keep by us keeping our family first, it makes everything work out a little bit easier.
Yeah.
All right. Well said. Well, listeners, there you have it, right there, live and in living color. Akron, Ohio's own Half Mile Home. You heard from Terrence Buttons Burton, from Daryl Deacon Brownlee, and Todd Burton. We're going to let you hear right now, Thinking of Me. Make sure you pick up this project, Don't Judge Me, released by Church Boy Music, Inc. and Black Smoke Music Worldwide, a.k.a. Carrie Douglas. Yes, this is phenomenal. Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by the virtual studio. You all were awesome to interview and just fun to hang out with.
Thank you so much. You too. We had a really good time. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, no problem. All right, listeners, we're going to let you hear this awesome music. I'm telling you, you're going to love the vibe. I'm telling you right now, Thinking of Me by Half Mile Home. You want to keep it locked because our second segment is coming up with author and motivational speaker Richale R. Reed. Don't you move.
Stretching, yawning. I'm so blessed to me. Love, I don't deserve it. With you, life is worth it. I'm so blessed that you're thinking of me. We had a moment on the outside, but then you brought us on the inside. But it's true. It was you thinking of me. You loved me when I didn't love myself. Been there for me when there's nobody else. It's true. Came and took my worry, replaced it with your glory. And I am so blessed that you're thinking of me. And my past used to shame me until you came and changed me. I'm so blessed that you're thinking of me. For me when there's nobody else. It's true. It was you thinking of me. I know it, I love it, and it means so much to me. Just to know that God in heaven is thinking of me. Oh, thinking of me. Knows every plan that he has for you. Plans to give you hope and a future too. He knows every plan that he has for you. Plans to give you hope. I know it, I love it, and it means so much to me. Just to know I know that God is thinking of you. Thinking of you.
All right, thinking of me by half a mile home. Pick it up, check it out. Right there on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. You're hearing it. Thinking of me. I told y'all was going to like the vibe. Don't y'all like that? I told you would like it. I told you right there. All right, listen, so we're excited to move into our second segment. We are really honored to have best-selling author, motivational speaker, trainer, board-certified licensed professional counselor, addiction counselor. Yes, I'm talking about all of that is one person. And our next guest, Richale R. Reed, is joining us. And I'm telling you what, she has been quoted as, whenever she gets the mic, honey, listen, all bets are off. She has the ability to really relate and amplify and hold the attention of a room. And she's here today to talk to us about her new book, Silhouette of Her, Naked and Unashamed, A Poetic Journey of Faith by Richale R. Reed. And she's been hanging out in the virtual green room while we were chatting it up with our first guest, so I'm going to go ahead and bring her up to the mic right now. We're running to the green room to bring her up to the mic. Hello, Richale. You're live and on the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. How are you?
Hey, Charvette. I am wonderful, and I'm very excited to be here with you tonight. You've been checking me out, but I've been checking you out, too, and you got it going on, girl, and I'm proud of what you are doing. You're doing a really great work to honor and celebrate people like me who are committed to doing something for the kingdom. And so I appreciate you for having this platform, for the commitment that it takes to keep it going like you do, and to bring on different guests like me. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Virtual high fives coming out to you. All right. Listen, I love it. And we just keep it moving here. So let's jump in. Certainly, you have a lot of experience in a lot of different spaces and places, but I'd love to hear just how you got into, that counseling piece and really helping people. I love your bio says you like to move people from a place of stagnation to a place of change. So how did you get into that area?
Well, I think it's all God-inspired, of course. A lot of things that we do in life, we can all look back and say, I don't even know how I got here, right? But then there are some instances where we can see, hindsight is 20/20, we can kind of go back and say, oh, okay, I see the link here to why I'm here today. And some of those links are some negative experiences. But when I was a child, I can recall a lot of adults would come to me and talk to me about their problems. So I believe that is one of the signs that God was showing me that I would one day be a counselor, because I had began to just develop the skill of listening to people and their problems, their issues, their concerns, whatever it was. I began to develop the skill to listen to them, but not only to listen, but to empathize with people. And through some of my own struggles, of course, that empathy has been deepened.
Wow. And so you recognized early on that whatever you would be doing would involve listening to people and then helping them to work through whatever they had to get through whatever issues they had. So that's impressive that you recognize that early on in life.
Yes, I think too, with some of my background story and some of the trauma that I actually experienced in my life, also prepared the way for me to be able to help other people. So, for example, when I do group therapy and individual therapy, but I've become to have a special affinity for working with people in a group setting, and I think that I love it because what the enemy does and what mass consciousness does, which is the broad thought of humanity, and some of those thoughts are very negative. But what that does to us is tell us that we're alone. And so anytime you begin to marinate, and that's one of my sayings, to marinate on this, anytime you begin to marinate on being alone, on isolation, then you begin to feel like no one else understands what I'm going through, no one else has ever been through that, and you get these extreme thoughts. And it's not true, it's just a lie. And but if you believe it, that's all that matters. So what happens is we co-sign on things that are harmful to us. We marinate on them. We meditate on these negative thoughts day and night. And so then we begin to walk that out in our lives. And so what happens when I come into that group room is I come in to bring to you that you are not alone and that your brother and sister sitting right next to you has some similar experiences. So we are more alike than we are different. And that one principle can begin to free people. And bring from stagnation to change. I'm stuck here. I can't move because I'm the only person here. Nobody's going to come down here and help me because nobody cares. Well, I can begin to help and show you and challenge that thought. And now maybe you can co-sign on something else. something positive.
Wow. And listen, that word co-sign is strong because when you co-sign, you are taking ownership. You are saying, I will own this. I will be accountable for this. And so that, to put it just in that frame of work, is in that framework is like, okay, no, I don't want to co-sign this. I don't want to own this negativity. I don't want to take ownership of this story that I've told myself. So that is powerful. And have you found that people really struggle with the change of they know they're stuck, they feel stagnation, but they still struggle with how do I change to get unstuck?
Yes, and I think that's what the problem is with a lot of messages that we hear. We hear a lot of great speakers, but we don't hear the speakers tell us exactly how we can begin to move.
Yeah.
And in a way that makes sense. So, for example, when you said you love the word cosign, the ability to counsel people means an ability to communicate with them on their level, where they are. So the challenge when you have a group of people is to meet all of those different people no matter where they are. So you have to be flexible and you have to be led by the Spirit in order to do
Absolutely.
that. In order to
Absolutely.
There are many times where I can walk into the room and I may have something written on paper, but I may not even follow that because I need to understand and get a sense for, in the Spirit, the people and what they're going through in that room. Again, not really even focusing on their differences, but focusing on really how much we are alike, because that really is the power to change. It's the power to connect people in a way that they've never been connected before. And many people who struggle with addiction, it's a relational problem. Many of our problems, the root of them is a relational issue, our relationship to Christ. So if whatever you're going through, if it's weight issues, if it's food addiction, if it's substance abuse addiction, whatever it is, a lot of times when you really look at the root, and that's what we want to do. We want to look at the root. Too many times we're looking at the surface. So we complain and we talk about our story. This is what's wrong. You haven't even touched you're on the surface. We haven't gotten to the root of the problem. And so what I do is I stop you from, like you said earlier, just telling that story over and over and over again because you bought into it, because you co-signed on it, and that was the moment that you gave the enemy room to continue to work in your life. So now, because God has given us free will, all we have to do is choose to co-sign on what he says about us and not what other people say about us. Because too many times the power that we have, and we do have power, we give it away.
Yes.
And so what I have to do is help people understand, and even through my own experiences, right? Because I go through things too. But what the difference is the ability to learn from what you're going through. So every time you go through something, God, what's the lesson? What is the lesson that I was supposed to learn from this? Because until you understand that lesson, you will continue to go through it again until you learn it.
Until you learn it, until you get it, we're going to have to keep retaking that assessment, keep retaking that test over and over again. Wow. And so you have spoken, we can certainly hear the speaker coming up out of you. Just as you were talking, you've spoken at schools and colleges and nonprofits and for-profits and faith-based institutions and mental health agencies, and the list goes on, and certainly have various speaking topics that you cover. If someone wants to contact you for speaking, how should they go about doing that?
Okay, well, they can go to my website, www.richalereed.com, and they can also email me at booking@richalereed.com. That's the email, booking@richalereed.com, or just go to my website. I mean, it's a plethora of information on that website. And I got to give a plug to my husband. My husband does my website for me. And
shout out.
Yes, he Abdul Reed. He's a wonderful man, and he has a gift. He truly has a gift, and he's using his gift to help me. And I so appreciate him for everything he's done for me. That website is, I have to let you guys know because, some of us are foreground people and some of us are background people.
Right.
But we all shine, right, because for God's glory. And so I have to let people know because he would probably never tell it. But I want people to know that because I waited, and that's one of the themes in the book, but because I waited on God, that's what I got blessed with. And so the ministry that God is birthing in me, my husband has been very supportive in that, and especially now with as much time as I'm taking away. He's been very supportive, and so that website, when you see how phenomenal it is Mr. Abdul Reed.
All right, shout out to him, and it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Check it out. Check it out. You can get on the email list and all that good stuff and have all the contact information and actually check out the book trailer, which is a great segue to talk about Silhouette of Her. So, you're speaking, you're counseling, you're doing that. When did you say, okay, I need to sit down and write a book? When did that happen?
That's a good question because especially if any of my friends are on the line, the way this happened, they probably would be thinking, okay, I just talked to her 2 months ago. I heard nothing about a book. So it was actually written, I'll say this. The book was compiled in 2005. And I was on television at the time, and the television station folded. The book was supposed to come out right then. So I, of course, was discouraged. And I heard in my spirit that it was not time to release the book. There was no momentum there. You're already going to be selling this book out the trunk of your car because think about it, between 2005 and now, how drastically technology has changed and advanced us.
Yeah.
So it would have been much more work, hard work. And I truly believe that God doesn't require us to work hard, but smart, so that we can get the done that he's calling us to do. So this book coming out now is so profound on so many levels because God's omnipresent. So the timing, just because I wrote it in 2005, from my editor to other people who have read the book, they will tell you that it is relevant to right now.
My goodness.
That's the power. And I guess this is my new tagline. Only God can do that, right?
Yeah. Only He can do that.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's amazing, that right there. And you've got all 5-star reviews on Amazon, so you can pick up a copy right over there. Actually, I'm over on Amazon right now. Listeners, and you know how I like to do reality radio. I'm reading a review right now. And the reviewer, who is a verified purchase, said an inspirational book everyone can relate to. This is one of the most powerful books I have ever read. Every line was well thought out, not a blank moment. It is a book for all women, both young and old, educational and inspirational. It'll also reach men emotionally, writing right now. So it's hard to put everything in this book into words. So the reviewers saying they're emotional, but they're just saying just get the book. It's life changing. So what a great testament. So let's tell listeners about the book. What's your synopsis of the book?
Well, Silhouette of Her, Naked and Unashamed, The Poetic Journey of Faith, as I said, was it's a poetic journey, but I don't want people to get stuck on poetry, especially if they don't like it. So let me give a background. Part of the inspiration for the design of the book came from the fact that I was a student at Salem College in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which is a predominantly Caucasian female school. It's an excellent school, wonderful professors there. However, I had one professor who told me that my interpretation of poetry was incorrect. Every class we had, that's what I heard over and over again. Well, life continued to happen, and I was going through things in my life, and God began to speak through me and inspire me in a poetic voice that I had absolutely had no idea that I had. So I begin to write in this voice, and I'm writing about the things that I'm going through, and they're healing me to go through them because, again, I'm learning from the trauma and from the different relational problems that I'm going through. So then when I decide how this has healed me, it can heal other people. And because my life is a life of service, it was a no-brainer to go ahead and share it with other people. So in that vein, I thought, how about this? I'm going to write the poem on one page, and on the next page for this book, I'm going to write what I was going through at the time. So nobody guesswork as to what I was talking about. Now, this is what only God can do. So as you read the book, Charvette, even though I told you what I was going through in my life, when you read that poem, you can still see aspects in your life and bring up other things out of that poem. Even as I go back and read it today, since it was written between 1998 and 2005, that's when all of those poems were written in that time span. Even when I go back and look at it, because my life has changed so much, because I have grown. God only requires us to grow, right? That's all He really wants from you is to grow. And so because I've grown, there was a part of me, Charvette, that wanted to change parts of the book, but God said, no, leave it the way it is. And I now see why. So really there's some times where you want to do things your way, but being obedient is what will bless you. And you will see. And sometimes, Charvette, we want to ask why. I think there is wisdom in just, as they say down here in North Carolina, hurry up and wait.
Right.
There's some wisdom in that, and just listening, that listening side of prayer. Because sometimes we go and we pray about this, that, and other, and we just talking. God, this, I want this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes we need to just sit. Okay, it's okay. Sometimes we just need to just sit and wait and hear from Him, because He'll show us in due time what He wants from us. So, Charvette, that's my puppy. She's excited now, I guess, because I'm excited, and she had surgery just on yesterday. So she's on the bedside, and I'm her nurse right now.
Oh, isn't that precious? Well, hello. Welcome to the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show as well. Okay, so I love that that you were able to do the poem and then kind of talk about, draw the context and make the connection for the reader. And so there are several chapters, in this book. A woman of standard, begin to love again, a child's eyes, canceled rendezvous. Whoa, one soul. And one soul, so one O-N-E soul and one W-O-N soul. Tell us about that chapter, one soul, one soul.
Oh, you want to know about that one? Okay, let's see. So that poem, I believe, was written. It's really about salvation, and it's just about salvation and the price. On our life, and its comfort for those who actually have lost someone in their life. And that's written more so to comfort someone who was going through a loss at the time. And because the book is so deeply rooted in faith, I questioned whether, again, remember, I talked about, wanting to do things my way sometimes, and I questioned whether that should really even be in there. But he said yes, because earlier I was talking to you about the root of a lot of our issues, and that's what we really need to get to. So many of the men and women that I work with, and I work with men and women from 18 to infinity, with mental health and drug addiction problems. The root of many of their addiction is grief. Simply the loss, the physical loss of someone, And sometimes that doesn't mean that the person physically died. It could just mean the person left, chose to leave, was incarcerated, was suddenly taken away, angrily taken away. And I'm left stuck, and I don't know how to deal with that because, again, it is a relational problem. I need help understanding how to deal with this relationship, this loss of the relationship, the fact that I had no, here's the big word, control in this relationship. Yes, because many of us struggle on a daily basis with control, even those of us who seem to have it all together every single day. We're so polished, we're so put together, and some of us are the biggest control freaks.
That is so true.
Yes.
And what is the control? What is really the root? What is really the issue with control?
Well, the issue with control is that if you live in a life submitted to Christ, that's not going to work for you.
Ah, all right. There we go. Hit the nail on the head. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes I go into the group room and I say, I'm going to try to say this, and then I think, no, I can't say it any other way than just to say it. How is this working for you? And a lot of times I'll tell them, you didn't come here for me to teach you about addiction. You got that down pat. You came here because you need to learn how to recover. So that's my job.
Yeah.
But you must be willing. You must be willing to meet yourself with love and compassion. And many people do not know how to love themselves and be compassionate with themselves. Many times we are able to do that with everyone else but ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are much more lenient with other people than we are with ourselves.
Right. And so back to the control freak, a lot of times the way that a person who has control issues operates is maybe they're very stringent on themselves, but they're also stringent on other people as well. So it's like you have no room to make a mistake. You have no room to just to not get it right. You either get it right or the hammer comes down. Be on time or the hammer comes down. Do it my way or the hammer comes down. And so what happens is that begins to fracture relationship. It continues to fracture relationship. Not only does it fracture relationship with people, it fractures our relationship with our God. It disconnects.
Whoa. Oh, my goodness. Listeners, I'm telling you what, you're getting some Oprah life class right here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. So you got to pick up a silhouette of her naked and unashamed, a poetic journey of faith. Richale, tell them where they can get a copy.
Well, of course, you can get it on Amazon.com. You can also get it at on my website, www.richalereed.com. And let me spell Richale for you. It's Rich, A-L-E. So R-I-C-H-A-L-E. Reed is R-E-E-D.com. You can get it there. You can I'll also be doing a book signing here in Fayetteville, North Carolina at Force of Life Fayetteville, the church that I've been going to, and they have been uber supportive of everything that I'm doing. So big shout out to Force of Life Fayetteville, Pastor Demetria and Chris Davis. And that, but the great thing about that event is that I'm making meatballs. So you really want to. Yes, my book signing, and I'm making meatballs. But there'll be other vendors things. There'll be a full poetry slam on August. That's Thursday, the 18th. And then on the 19th, I'll also be there signing books. No meatballs that night. So if you want meatballs, you need to come Thursday night. And we're starting at 7. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, my goodness. So there is your personal invitation, listeners, your personal invitation right there. Well, I am telling you what, it has been awesome interviewing you and just chatting with you and hearing from your heart. But I have to ask you a question that I love to ask my listeners. The goal of my show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate you.
What continues to motivate me is love. Because outside of love, nothing else matters. So let's look at the word matter. Matter as in physical matter, and matter as in I really don't even care about it. So outside of love, nothing else matters. So my motivation is to love, because love will bring me everything that I need, and it will do the same thing for you.
All right. It'll do the same thing for you. There you go. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Have an awesome book signing and launch and continuing just to really impact people everywhere you go. So I'm glad we had a chance to feature you on the show.
Yes, thank you, Charvette. Again, what you're doing is great, and I applaud you. And you keep doing the great work, and God before you. Who can be against you?
Amen. I receive it, and I will. Amen. Thank you so much. All right, listeners, guess what? That's a wrap for today. As always, jump over to Charvette.com. If you missed any portion of the show, send your friends over there. Yeah, tell them to go check out the show. Charvette.com. You'll see what's going on, what's coming up. Connect with me on social media. Connect with me everywhere. Download my mobile app.
Richmond, Virginia.
We'll see you next week.
To the Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Connect with her at Charvette.com. And until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. The Charvette Mitchell Radio Show. Signing off.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
The Oscar race begins with the year's most inspiring film, Florence Foster Jenkins.
At this dark moment in our history, music matters.
Based on the incredible true story of the world's most unlikely singer who inspired a nation.
That dame's got me happy to be alive.
Critics are raving. Meryl Streep is a serious Oscar contender for her latest tour de force performance.
But I'm afraid
they're going to love you. You have to see to believe.
This is what we live for, this moment.
Florence Foster Jenkins, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Now playing in theaters.